Do you think our next guest is getting that pre-winter pang now that his body's recovered over the summer to go find his footy boots again and have another run?
No, he's a very intelligent man. He's had a wonderful career. He's hung him up at the right time, Rooch, and he's too busy running our state. The Premier, Peter Malinauskas, joins us now. Hello, Pete.
G'day, Kim. G'day, Rooch. How are you?
Go again, Pete. Go.
Mind you, Pete. I hear...
Rooch, you didn't see my last game, mate. Last year we got knocked out. We got knocked out in week one of the finals against Kilburn, and my performance was nothing to behold. So,
well, you've got something to work on.
Yeah, that's true.
Mr. Premier, what's it like when you're playing at the level you're playing at and you're the Premier of our state? Are people respectful or do you cop a bit?
No, I cop it. Don't worry about that. No, look, like the amateur league over the time I've been playing has cleaned up so much.
Yeah.
It's so different today. Yeah. And, in the lower grades, often that's where you'd see it, which is obviously where I'm playing. That's where you often see a bit of the biff. But you just don't see it these days. You see people enjoying themselves. But that's the physical stuff. But on the lip, it's fair game, and it's got to be pretty tempting to your opponent to get stuck into a politician. So I've heard some pretty funny ones over the years, and that hasn't changed any time recently.
Anything you can repeat?
Probably not.
Hey, just on your career, I believe you haven't quite hung up the jumper completely. You're going to go in the handball competition on the Footy Show. I heard Channel 9 were talking about it.
I was at the last minute. They said, "Oh, you're going to take Gil on in the handball comp," and Gil played some pretty senior footy back in the day. I thought, I'm in trouble here.
No, you got him covered. He's no good on the
but
left.
That's where I came into my own. So I don't know how I'd go against Andrew Dillon because he's played senior footy as well. So,
yes.
Maybe I should just hang those boots up as well, so to speak.
Well, we want to have a chat about Gather Round. It's great to have it for the second year. It's going to be bigger and better than what it was in the first year, and it was a massive success. Adelaide comes alive. We talk about the Footy Show. I believe they'll be here on the Tuesday. The front bar will be here on Wednesday. On top of that, Kane Corns will be getting put on his backside in a boxing match on the Wednesday, I think, Rooch. What else can you tell us about Gather Round that we should be proud of?
So there's a few things. Look, the difference between Gather Round this year and last year is that this year we've had a 12-month run-up at it.
Mm-hmm.
And whereas Gather Round in 2023, it was announced in November 22. So we had 4 or 5 months to put it all together. And the team did an amazing job. So this year, having a bit more time, I guess the instructions that I gave to the department, or the Tourism Commission at the end of it was, now we've got to make sure that we take the next step up, not in terms of enjoyment amongst the fans, but how we maximise the economic benefit to the state, because that's, from the government's perspective, the main game. Of course, we want people to enjoy themselves, but I think the footy sort of looks after that. What we're seeking to do is give places for people to go who are visitors from interstate to spend more of their hard-earned cash in our local economy. And one of the big things that we're doing a bit differently is bringing back Norwood Food and Wine Festival on the parade, which is going to be on the Sunday. Just a bit of context there. The AFL's fixtured St Kilda Richmond at Norwood Oval, which is a massive fixture for a small ground. So we wanted somewhere where Saints and Richmond supporters can go, amongst everybody else, to go and enjoy what South Australia has to offer. So that's hence the timing on the Sunday. And the team have put in a huge amount of effort to get South Australian restaurants, food producers, wineries, gin distilleries and craft brewers all on site on the parade on the Sunday for a really big show. And the AFL have chipped in some coin with music entertainment and AFL footballers doing cooking performances and a whole lot. And it's all free, so it's a big opportunity.
Logistics are great at Norwood with the parade. Could you do Jetty Road, close Jetty Road at Glenelg and then have a game at Glenelg? Is that possible?
Well, we want to see how this goes. Oh, the short answer is yes, everything's possible. We want to see how it goes this year. The parade worked, like Norwood Oval worked well last year, and similarly with Mount Barker, everybody knows that we're up for looking at alternate venues. We are going to have a few things going on down at Glenelg this year. There is going to be, this might be an SEN exclusive if it hasn't been announced publicly, but we are doing an activation site down at Glenelg The AFL are hosting a really big dinner at Glenelg on the Wednesday night. The captain's run for Richmond will be at Glenelg Oval, and I also think that's the location of an interstate game between.
Yes, South Australia, Victoria. Yeah, that's been announced.
So we want to give Glenelg a run for its money and see how it plays out.
Yeah.
But in terms of the street food and wine festival, we see the parade being a good location this year because we want fans who are coming down Mount Barker to come to the parade. People going to St Kilda Richmond will be on the parade. And then the Sunday afternoon game is now sold out between Collingwood and Hawthorn, and people can make their way into town as well. So that proximity is an advantage.
Pete, what's happening with the Barossa Valley?
Yes.
Are you running into a few roadblocks there, or will it happen next year?
Well, we are. We wanted to be there this year. We just couldn't get it up in time. There's a group of people between the State Tourism Commission, the AFL, and the Barossa Council on looking at a site that we can have up and running that's going to meet the benchmark, hopefully by the next year's gather round. So that work has been in train since last year, and a fair bit has happened, and we just want to get through this year's gather round first, and then we'll turn our minds to the locations for next year.
Pete,
but that's certainly an objective.
We know you have another commitment. We'll throw a few more at you if you have time. If not, you can leave. It won't be being rude.
I've got another couple of minutes.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah. Okay, room night bookings, how are they looking compared to last year with the hotels and the Airbnbs, and is there a bit of price gouging going on?
Yeah, everything's up, and yes, there is no doubt that people are trying to make as much money as they can. But you know what? I mean, I was a bit frustrated by this on one level, and I went to representatives of the accommodation industry, like the hotels and the like, and they said, listen, the difference between Gather Round and other events is our opportunity to make big margin. And, you know, if people are willing to pay, they're going to be full, and if they can get as much money from people coming from Sydney and Melbourne and Perth and everywhere else to put more money in the state's economy, they said, why wouldn't we do it? And on one level, I get that. But you're certainly seeing a lot of South Australians, a bit like almost the Olympics. They're cashing in, putting things on Airbnb, and I say all power to them as well. I mean, look, we've got all 18 clubs coming to our state at the one time, and all their fans with them. You know, we did this to get more money into the economy, which helps us as a government pay for hospitals and schools and everything else. So the more people that can make the money out of it, I say all power to them.
I know you spent time with Andrew Dillon, but will Gather Round be diluted if they go ahead next year with all games being played in either New South Wales or Queensland or both for opening round?
Look, I don't see them doing that. I mean, they're not going to repeat Gather Round. There is only one Gather Round. The opening round concept, you know, that was 4 games. I mean, different people have different perspectives on that, and I'm probably not any different. But when they announced that fixture last year, a few people asked me, "Are you worried this is eroding Gather Round?" And I'm not at all, because there's only one Gather Round, and 4 games, a bit of whatever. What makes Gather Round powerful is having all 18 clubs in the one place, and that's exclusively ours.
Well, there is talk
Peter,
that it could happen.
There's a lot of states that want to come and get it now. How long can you extend this contract, and how long should you extend it?
Well, we've got 3 years, Rooch. So we've got 24, 25, 26 all locked in, and that will determine how it goes into the future. We had to fight pretty hard for that, and that deal, the 3-year deal, was struck during the course of Gather Round last year because, I made the argument to Gil, like, good luck taking this away from us now, because if you go to Sydney and it flops, you'll never live it down. So they gave us 3 years on the back of that, and I guess now is our chance just to prove that the AFL's confidence they've shown in the South Australian community is justified, and the fact that everything's already sold out is pretty amazing. And just think about this, gents. I mean, there are some teams that play they can have their biggest home crowds in Adelaide from outside of their own place. So I think we can be pretty proud of that.
Let's finish on a salacious note. Here's a text that came through from Tony. He said, "Can you tell Mally one of his teammates knocked me out last year?" Tony, I'm sure it was an accident. I don't know if you remember the game.
Just it wasn't, as long as it wasn't me, Tony. So apologies.
No, I'm sure he would have named and shamed you if it was.
But,
Pete,
fair enough too.
yeah, always appreciate your time. We know how busy you are. All the best for Gather Round.
Thanks, gents. Cheers.